What is up, guys? My name is Max, and this video is actually going to be a standalone. I started playing matches for my TVZ guide, and the first match I played was actually a TVZ, and I actually slowed down my mechanics so much that my macro started to not keep up. Like, I was banking minerals because I just forced myself to play so slowly so that you can understand every single action I'm doing, and I'm going to put commentary over it. So the reason why I did this was I was brainstorming ideas for like videos to help lower league people improve, and the main thing that I think is missing from the kind of tutorials that you see out right now is that the mechanics aren't stressed very much. I know Day 9 did his number 252 on mechanics, and that was excellent daily. I recommend you guys should all go watch that if you haven't and you want to get better. But if you watch streams, they're obviously going to be playing super fast, and you won't be able to keep up with the clicks that they make and the buttons that they press on the keyboard. And that's the goal of this video. I want you guys to be able to keep up with every click I make and every button press I make on the keyboard. And I want to give you an example of extremely clean and efficient APM. In SE2 gears, my APM is reported as 86, that's the real APM, but my redundancy is 10%. That means I'm not spamming at all. I'm basically making every click count and do something. And my EAPM, which is your regular APM minus redundancy, effective APM, is 77. So I want you guys to look to this video as a benchmark and sort of like a goal if you're in bronze or lower leagues and your mechanics aren't very strong. I want you to watch this video closely and see how it feels to play. And you can even mute it if you want and sort of get an idea of how it feels. And then I want you to try to translate that into your own play, and I think you'll see a lot of improvements. So let's get into the game here. It's going to be TVZ on Core Hall Compound. Actually, before we do that, I need to go over my hotkeys because this is important. It's relevant to this video. So I have custom hotkeys for Terran. That's why you see there's a missing hotkey here. I don't care about the hotkeys for the other races. But let's go over them. So I switch patrol to Q. You're not going to see me patrol in this game, but patrolling definitely has its place, like patrolling Vikings to defend against drops, or patrolling a Marine to scout or cover an area. So I don't want to hit P, so I switch it to Q. It's much easier. Let's see. Yeah, lift off and land. I switch to F. I don't want to be hitting L. That's too far to the right of the keyboard. E, I switched load to E from O. So if I ever want to get guys in a bunker, I can press E. If I ever want to get guys in the command center, I hit E. And like in a medevac as well. And then every basically upgrade or something that was on the right of the keyboard, like Planetary Fortress, that was P, I switched to W. So those would be Planetary Fortress, High-Sec Auto Tracking, which was H, Mobius Reactor, which was M, Infernal Pre-Igniter, which was I. So I switched those all to W just so it's easier for me to press. Also, I haven't done it yet, which is on my main account, but I'm going to do it right now. Hold position, I want to be W, so that if I ever need to hold position my units easily, it's right there, right under my middle finger. I can just tap W. This is extremely important if you're playing TVT and you want to like keep your Marines from walking into siege tanks. So there we go. Yep. Oh, not there we go. Global camera. The base camera, what this does is every time you tap it, it'll jump the camera to a orbital command or any command center or planetary fortress. And if you have more than one, tapping it multiple times will alternate the camera between those. It will not select them. It simply moves the camera, moves your window on the map to be centered over the base. So if you have one base, tapping it will send you back home. And if you have two, tapping it will put you in between them. This is really nice for Zerg players if you want to tap it multiple times to inject larvae. And it's just nice in general to have to jump back to your base easily. I switch it to space because I don't use space, which is jump to last event. Create location 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the same idea, except it's like saving a spot on the map. Like you can save a certain position of your camera, and then you can move away from it, and tapping that F key will bring you right back there. and it won't select anything. Again, it won't change your selection. It'll simply move the camera over that location. So I have it to shift because I think shift F2 is much easier to press than control F2. And I use 4 of them, as you can see right here. I really only use 3 for my main bases. I haven't been doing this all the time that I play SC2, but if you guys are starting out in the lower leagues, I really want you to get into this habit, especially if you want to get better. Make F2 your main, F3 your natural, and F4 your third. Just do it and force yourself to learn how to do it. It'll save you so much time in the future when you actually are going to be mechanically good enough to where it'll really help you in games. So you create the location 1, F2, F3, F4. F1 is idle workers, so I leave that unchecked. And then jump to location is 2, 3, and 4. And I will show you how this works in game. So let's jump into the game here. Finally, for real this time. Alright guys, so the first thing you want to do is click your command center and hit S to build the SCV, then you box and send them to mine, just like that. When you send them to mine, you can make a smaller box and only get half of them and send them to another mineral patch. If you're feeling like that's something you want to do, it's not very important and you'll be fine just sending them all at once. Okay, so what I do here is set this to camera position 3. And I already set my 1 and 2, so that's Shift F2 in my case, as you saw from the hotkeys, and then Shift F3. So if I hit F2, F3, F4, like I was doing there, you can see how the camera jumps between the places, but nothing different is selected. So you want to rally this SCV to the ramp, and then I hotkey it to 1 so that I can go to my building SCV whenever I need to. BS, depot, and then I just shift it to where the barracks is going to be. And what shift does is it queues up commands, and it's really intuitive actually. If you want to do anything in a series, you can hit shift. You can tell an SCV to build something, and then shift build something else, and shift move to one place, and then shift repair something, and he'll carry out all those commands in a row. So now that the depot's done, I double tap 1, and what that does is jumps to and selects that SCV, and then I hit BB for the barracks and click right on the wall there. Now my gas is gonna get down, so what I do is I send a guy to the gas before I have enough minerals to build it. Then when he gets there, then that's when I have enough minerals to build it, and I can hit BR click, and it immediately goes down. And as you can see right there, I just use the F keys again to just cycle through. It's a good habit to keep cycling through so that you can get that in your muscle memory and do it easily when the time comes to do it. Alright, so those 2 guys just dropped off their minerals, so I just boxed them and sent them into the gas. And now I have my barracks on 5 and my orbital command on 4. So when the barracks finishes, I hit 4B for the orbital and then 5A for the marine. Then I hit 1-1 and then BS and then click to finish the wall with the depot. Whenever you want to set a rally point, you just right click on the map where you want the building to rally. So I rally down my ramp because since I haven't scouted, these marines are actually what I'm going to be scouting with. So I just showed you with the mouse there that I hotkeyed it to 3. I use 3 for my main army hotkey. When your orbital's done, you want to double tap 4, then hit E for mule and click on the mineral patch itself. And then hit S again for an SCV. And what you saw I did after that with the barracks is that I right click the barracks on my marine, which sets the rally point to the marine itself. Then I hit 1-1 and pressed VF for the factory, and then placed it right next to the barracks. And as you can see, in order to build something like this reactor, I just press 5 and then C for the reactor, and it goes down just like that. If I ever want to build an SCV, I'm hitting 4S, and if I ever want to build anything out of my production, I hit 5 and then press the production keys. You never ever want to click anything in the bottom right section of the screen to build it. You always want to be using your hotkeys. So I click a worker, I don't box workers and then make it, I click a worker and then make that new command center on the high ground just to be safe. And then I make a depot and see I shift clicked him back to the minerals, so that's what that green rally point is. Float the factory, and then when it's over the barracks, hit S, that's stop position, so it stops directly over it. Then you can press F on the barracks to make it fly, and then land the factory by hitting F and clicking, and then make your 2 Hellions. Now this Overlord, I bring my Marines back, which you saw me didn't go to the Marines on the screen. All I did was hit 3 and then clicked on my main base, so they walk there. And then I can A-click and attack the Overlord. With these Hellions out, I hotkey him to 3 as you see right there. And then I click on the minimap where I want them to go, and then I A-click to that position, just so I can get exactly where I want. Now, the tech lab is done, so I press it and hit T, and that's going to start my stim pack. And meanwhile, see, I bring out SCVs individually, and I place the barracks exactly where I want them, and you're going to see why I placed them there in a second. In order to add those Hellions to the group, I hit Shift and then 3, and then I send them to where my other Hellions are. This was a mistake, I wasn't supposed to lift that yet. When that command center is done, hit B on it, and then make it into an orbital. And then, as you can see there, I just selected all my racks, and I hit Shift 5, which makes all my production into Control Group 5 now. Now I can double tap 3 to go to my Hellions so that I can see what they're doing. And I'm just going to save them here. I'm just going to show you a longer game. I'm not going to try to end it fast or anything. Just go over the mechanics as the game goes on. So I mule when that's done so that the energy isn't idle, and then I lift it and land it. These are the 6 Hellions are out now, so now I can lift my factory and make a new reactor, which is going to be given to a barracks. With that old reactor, I can fly this barracks onto it, and then start a little wall at my natural. And you see I use the Shift command to select him, or to send him back to the minerals again. Now I can build 4 Marines at a time. And right here I boxed a bunch of SCVs, and I clicked to my natural so that they can transfer there. And then I rallied my new command center to the natural as well. Now I'm just building up the wall here. As you can see, I individually click and I place the building, and then I shift back to the minerals. You always want to do this for what you build so your SCVs don't become idle when they're done building. So now I'm just hitting 4 SS to build SCVs. I click on a guy and build a refinery there. And then I fly this away and build a new reactor, and then a starport next to that. This one I float onto the reactor. Now I can make 5 Marines at a time. The eBay, I want to, I think I hotkey in a second here. After I get this gas.
Research complete.
Yeah, and combat shield, you want to click on Tech Lab and hit C. You saw me mouse over it, but I actually used the hotkey. I was just showing you where with my mouse what I was doing. It's probably a big mistake there, a bit of a mistake. I set my eBay to 6, and that's so that if I ever need to upgrade, I just hit 6 EA, and that'll get my upgrades for attack and armor. I box 2 guys, send them into gas there, and meanwhile I'm just double tapping 3 and moving my Hellions around, making sure he doesn't have a third. Now that my starport and factory are done, I can go ahead and press F and swap those down, and then build a tech lab with the factory so I can start my tanks.
Additional supply depots.
And I shift 5 with the starport, and you see if I hit 5 and I rally them like I just did there, all of them are going to be rallied to the same place. I double tap 3 and send my Hellions back to the watchtower just to be safe. And I start 2 medevacs, which is DD. In order to build supply depots, you can just box a whole bunch of SCVs, then hit BS click, and only 2 SCVs will go. So it's not like all your SCVs are going to go because you boxed a whole bunch. So you don't have to individually click on SCVs to build mass buildings like a bunch of depots in a row. Now this orbital I'm going to place outside just because there's no space in my natural. And then I shift back into the minerals like that. Now this is important. I hit control, or I hold control, and I click the Marines. Then I hold shift and control and I click the medevacs. What control clicking does is the same as double clicking, but it's more efficient because you only have to click the mouse once and there's less room for error. And that selects all units of the same type that are in your vision. So control clicking all my Marines selects all the Marines, and then holding shift and control adds whatever other unit type you click to the group, which is medevacs in this case. So that means that all my medevacs and all my Marines are going to be selected. Then I add them to 3 and I send them to my Hellions. I lift here and get a new reactor, and then I build a new factory on top of that tech lab. So I can have 2 facts, 3 racks, and okay, this is important. I send 1 Marine individually clicking it to the watchtower, then I hold shift and click on the Marine itself on the map. And what that does is deselects it from the group, then I hit control and 3, and then it reassigns my hotkey group without the Marine in it. I send 1 Hellion in here to see what's there, and then I send the rest of my guys after, and I see he's building a hatchery, so I'm going to want to take this out before he gets a third up. I control click Marines there and right click on the medevac to load him. Then that 1 Marine that didn't get in, I hit S, so he stops and he doesn't follow the medevac. Then I Q, I right click move command on the left side of the map, and I Q by holding shift, and then I hit D and then Q a drop into his mineral line. And you're going to see this medevac is going to automatically, if you watch the mini-map, it's going to automatically fly over there and drop in the base. Meanwhile, I can double tap 3, double tap my production or my orbitals, and command my army and build things at the same time while I'm doing the drop. hit F and float this one to the third to be a planetary fortress. And meanwhile, just build up a bunch of guys and rally them to your natural. And how you do this is hit 5, and then because all my production is on one key, I can tab through it. So I hit 5 AAA and then tab, as you saw there, then SS, and then I hit 5 AAA again. And here's the drop going. You want to stim, and you want to A-click on drones. A-click drones to target them. When his units come back, you can just load up and fly away, just as you saw there. And that's very effective, so he's probably scared now. He's not going to move out anytime soon. Now, I didn't have my planetary hotkey to W, so I made a bit of a mistake there, but I noticed it was P, and I got my planetary. Now watch here. I hit F3 to go to my natural, and I shift and deselect more SCVs. Then I click on the minerals at my third, and then I hit C. And what C does is it sends any SCV with the mineral in its hand. It sends him back to return it before he moves to the third. And that's one of the main reasons you want to use your F keys, so that you can transfer SCVs extremely efficiently.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
So I make these two buildings from my upgrades, and I shift them back there. And as you can see, I have good saturation now. And I'm not playing very fast. This should all be easy for you guys to follow. Double tap 3, and then click on the mini map to go there, and then drop it off to make sure he hasn't taken that base. Then I'm going to go to another base that he might have taken, just to keep him in check, make sure he's not getting expansions that I don't want him to get. I'm really not going to be aggressive this game because I want you guys to see the mechanics of macro and that kind of thing. So as I add these barracks, I just shift add them to my 5 control group, and if I want to make marines now, I can just hit 5 AAA, and then shift SS, shift DD to make the medevacs too. So as you can see, he's moving out with a pretty big army of Muta, Baneling, Ling. So I box my guys, and he's almost at my base, so I just siege up, which I control click my tanks and hit E to siege them all. Then I control click only my marines here. As you can see right there, only the marines, and I send them back to defend from the mutas. And what you want to do here is see how they're firing only guys in front. You want to move command them under the mutas and then A-click. And what that does is it moves them all under the mutas so all your marines can fire, and then you A-click on the ground and they'll automatically kill the mutas. And there you have it. He didn't take a third base, so he had to attack, and he's super behind now as I had my third up. And there you go. So that was actually really hard for me. I played so slowly in the game, but it's still really hard to give you guys good commentary for the mechanics. So I hope you followed that well, and you can of course pause, rewatch certain parts if you want to go over that. And also, if you want to mute the game and then write down notes for the build, that'd be awesome. This is a really good TVZ build that I use in Masters League, and I beat even some Grandmaster players with it. So thanks for watching, guys, and please give me feedback if you like this style of video. I can definitely produce more for you for the other matchups as well.